Number 1. Embellish your next project by creating this 3D add-on. It is great for your scrapbooks, journals, and cards. Here I'm using modeling film to create these beauties for my scrapbook journal for the year. And this is from the Bloom collection, so I'll put a link to that in the description box below. But all I did was I used rub-on stickers, placed it on the modeling film, painted a little bit of Mod Podge to prevent any cracking, cut the image out, and then using a heating tool, gently curved the corners of the image, creating this amazing 3D image that you can use in your scrapbooks and journals and even your cards today. Number 2, the simple greeting card. Now, when it comes to creating greeting cards, I am a no fuss type of girl. I love elegant cards that use very minimal techniques and just produce that wow factor. Now, my husband has about 50 staff members that I love to bless every year on their birthdays, so I got to keep it simple. The first thing I do is I stamp the greeting card with a text stamp like this using Versamark, because one of the things I love is adding that element of glam and 3-dimension with embossing powder. Now I'm going to reference number 3 tip, and that's adding washi tape to your watercolor cards if you're using watercolor cardstock, because it actually prevents warping if you tape it down. But going back to the simple card, I love using my favorite watercolor pencils. And here I'm just adding 3 lines. Now I am not a watercolor expert, and this is what's beautiful behind this technique, is all you have to do is add these 3 lines, because these are birthday cards, and then with some water, drag the color out so it mimics that of a very simple birthday cake. And this is by far one of the most therapeutic cards I ever create, and I've created quite a few. And then I love to finish it off with a punched out gold heart, just to give it a little bit more elegance. Number 4, triple embossing. Now take your image and using Versafine ink, stamp the image onto your card base. Then you emboss the actual image with your 3D texture fade, but make sure you spray the cardstock with water first to prevent any cracking. And I usually spray on the back side of the image. The next thing you do is you take your clear embossing powder and you cover up the image that you just stamped. There is your second embossing technique. And clear embossing powder just gives that stamped image a little bit more of a pop that really causes the text to really stand out. And the third embossing technique is going in with Versamark, and then covering the whole image with Distress Embossing Glaze. Now the great thing with the embossing glaze is that it's clear. So it's actually transparent. You see the text or any other images shine through. So this is what I call triple embossing. Number 5, unclogging your jelly roll pens. Do you ever find that when you go to use your jelly roll pen, it does not work? Well, this happens to me all the time. The best way to unclog that tip is to grab some alcohol, place some alcohol on a paper towel, And then just gently roll the edge of the pen or the nib of the pen into the alcohol. That should allow the ink to flow freely from the tip so that you can create and continue to craft with ease. Number 6. If you're new to three-dimensional flowers and this whole idea of floral arrangements on your crafting projects, you don't necessarily have to go out and buy a molding mat. Instead, you can just use a stack of napkins just like these, and then using your stylus tool, just press into the napkin to create those beautiful veins that you want to accentuate. Number 7. Now, after you've created these beautiful 3D petals or flowers, you want to put them together and have them set into place. Unfortunately, if you're new to this, you probably don't want to start spending a lot of money on setting tablets or setting trays. Here, I just used an old toothbrush holder to set my flowers in place. If you're new to my channel, my name is Christine, and I love to scrapbook, journal, create cards, and just enjoy the process of creating to connect with others. If you're interested in how I created this DIY scrapbook journal in a box, I'll put a link to this in the description box below. But what it is, it's a scrapbook journal that is in a recipe box, and it's my new take on how to scrapbook journal this year, so go ahead and check that out. But for now, let's continue with all our tips and tricks. Number 8. Now, this is, I think, new to the scrapbooking and card world, and that is using pollen instead of flocking powder. There is a difference. Pollen actually looks like pollen, whereas flocking powder, it actually looks more like cotton candy. It's got that consistency. Here, all I did was I took the stamen of the flowers and cut them up, rolled it up and glued it together, and then placed a little bit of adhesive on the tips of the stamen and then dabbed it into this bowl of pollen, which really brings the flower to life. Definitely try this technique out this summer. This one by far is one of my favorites. Number 9, defining your gold foil flaking images. Now this can be so messy, but it is so much fun and adds so much dimension and really just makes your projects pop. How do you actually remove any excess flakes without damaging the image? The best thing to do is to use a dryer sheet, and that will actually pick up any excess that is on your crafting projects. Number 10, the simple bulldog closure. I love creating mini scrapbook journals and sometimes just using journals that are out there and creating inside them. But then I love to finish off my projects with a binding system because I usually have tags and tabs and all this fun stuff flying out of there. So I like to add something to kind of pull it all together and keep whatever's inside from falling out. Here I just used my favorite ribbon, wrapped the book twice around, making sure that I leave some excess on the edges there. And then I take some matching bulldog clips and clip the ribbon just like this. I really hope you enjoyed these scrapbooking tips and tricks. If you're interested in more scrapbooking tips and tricks, then you'll probably want to watch this whole playlist here that will help you figure out some of those crafting dilemmas that you have. Whatever it may be, I truly believe that these videos here will help you craft with ease this year. So take care, and we'll hope to see you in those videos. Bye!